Almost 10 o'clock here now, back for day 2. All our 3 charts pulled up, and you can see every one of them currently with price above the moving average here, signaling to us that we can only get into buy trades. And down on the accelerator oscillator, let's take a look very close to a crossover on this US dollar Canadian dollar pair here. It is still negative at the moment, but with candles like this coming, we'll almost certainly see that crossover happen very soon. The Euro Swiss franc and the Aussie dollar New Zealand dollar not as close. Price been coming down more on those charts than it has on the US dollar CAD. So unless price starts to spike, I would imagine that we don't get to see a signal from those for a bit. But there it is on the US dollar Canadian dollar. We see now where that goes above. What did it finish? Finish negative 0.000046. So 10.15, if it finishes like that, we will be in a trade. Certainly didn't take us long. What is occurring on our economic calendar as well? Absolutely nothing in the Asia session at all. All quiet on the Eastern Front. 9 o'clock GBP, they've got nationwide house price index month on month and year on year forecast. That was meant to come in an hour ago. I haven't seen it yet. I did do a search and couldn't find anything online either, so not sure if this is a mistake. We'll see if that feeds through. In the last minute and a half as well, we've just had in the Eurozone from Spain, the CPI and the HICP, both month on month. The CPI there coming in 0.8% actual against a 1.2% forecast. I imagine that comes across as good news to them, even though it shows in red here like it was a loss. I think they'll be more pleased with 0.8 than 1.2. Not that 0.8 is great, of course. That's all we've had so far. 11 o'clock in the Eurozone again from Italy. We've got the PPI month on month, forecast at 2% with a previous of 2.1. So really high PPI. They'll be hoping for something similar as Spain here to get a lower figure out of the result. 12:30, 10-year bond auctions for Germany and Italy. Brazilian numbers in the early afternoon, PPI month on month at 3 o'clock, with the nominal budget balance and primary budget balance following at 3:30. Their PPI is forecast at 3.28%. Once more, I would certainly imagine they want to get under that. They are seeing a higher period of inflation over there. Canada at 3:30, we've got the Industrial Products Price Index month on month and the Raw Materials Price Index month on month. The IPPI forecast at 0.9 and the RMPI forecast at 0.0, completely flat. We'll see how those come in. We are trading on the Canadian dollar. Might see a little bit of impact there. Certainly 3:30 is a popular time to be on the Forex chart, so we should see high volume around then anyway. Just seeing this US dollar Canadian dollar candle poke up here above our economic calendar. 4 o'clock Swiss quarterly bulletin. Can't see that moving much. 5 o'clock on the US dollar. You've got pending home sales month on month, year on year. I could see a bit of impact again, certainly in the height of the day there. So volume will be flowing and likely we'll see a little bit of an increase there at 5 o'clock. And then that's about it really. There's some speeches in the evening. Fed Chair Powell, 6:45, same time as Christine Lagarde. If we're still trading then, could be increased volatility. So not a lot of big movers there for us on the calendar. Let's get back on these charts here. And look at this candle. Would have been nice to be in this run up. If this stays up at this resistance level here, look at this. If this stays up here, this does not bode well for us getting into a trade, I do not think. Already seen 3 consecutive green candles, which amount to around about 22 pips. I could certainly imagine getting in here and seeing momentum be exhausted, which isn't necessarily the end of your trade, but it does depend on whether you can handle a retracement or not. The ATR needs to be wide enough to allow price to come back a bit, because if not, you could easily get caught in a couple periods flash retracement. This signal should still be coming then, 10:15. 20 seconds now until the signal comes for us. Let's zoom in, let's pull up that chart here, let's get our average true range up. It is 9.2 pips times 1.5 as we do see the close there. That makes it 13.8 pips to the stop loss. So that is our risk calculated on screen now. Let's go for our buy trade. And of course, the stop loss and take profit here. Let's go 138 and 138. And there you have it. This take profit, it's not above that high back there. So maybe we do make a go of it. There we go. Continues to push now. Just over $25 to the good. I'm still expecting to see a retracement in price before we get to that take profit level, if we ever get to the take profit level. It's whether that retracement takes you all the way down to a support level and then bounces back up, or whether it just dips into your loss territory but then actually moves on. Doesn't look like we have to worry about the way it's going though. Halfway to our take profit already. Price really with a move on here. And here does come that retracement. We see now it's about halfway to our stop loss. It needs to be able to cope with it. It needs to say no, we don't want a retracement big enough to knock that stop loss out at 1.5 times ATR. Let's just stop at say 1 times ATR and get back on that upward trend. We need that pullback right now. It is bordering our stop loss. And it does go there. A full loss there that didn't take long at all. In fact, same candle. Could be a blessing that we're out of it, but we could just see this as a retracement and see it break from this range. When you see at a level like this, you could certainly interpret that as resistance. And it's simply a case of price getting up to resistance, sellers stepping into the market and saying, no, that's too much for us. We want to go down. We'll see what happens, but right now that was a $99.38 loss. Does put us on the back foot for the day. We need some back-to-back winning trades come our way so that we don't go off the deep end with this strategy now. See what's happening on those other charts as we come into the end of the candle here. This Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar is still below zero on the accelerator oscillator, but it is going to flip now, and it does. So if we get a close like that, we may well have a buy trade going over here. Again, this looks like it could be, well, it is at the top for a long time at least. So more so, I feel like I could do with a big reversal here on price, get that accelerator oscillator back below zero. Not really a signal I want to take after witnessing what just happened here on the run-up of the US dollar, Canadian dollar. And on the euro Swiss franc, people have been selling off the euro big time. It is now beneath the moving average, but the accelerator has been below zero for a good while now, which means we could be a ways off a signal on that chart. For now, our focus will be on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar though, see if we get that entry in 14 minutes time. 25 seconds to go, and even though price has turned red here on the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, it does look like we're going to get that signal. Let's pull up the ATR. 5.2 pips, 1.5 times that, 7.8. And we do get the close here, so 1% risk as always. Let's get in with our trade here. 1.79 volume there, and we are in for a buy. Stop loss and take profit in here. Take profit out there in the wild, up there somewhere. Just about $30 down at the moment, but hopefully once again this is the retracement. Let's see, can it cope with the red? And even if it gets down right down here, that's absolutely fine as long as it reverses, goes green, eventually gets our take profit. That's all we want. Meanwhile, over on the economic calendar, we did have the PPI from Italy there month on month come in, and it was a lot lower than forecast. They'll be very pleased with that one. 0.5% actual against a 2% forecast. Also worth noting, they did remove the calendar entry entirely for the nationwide house price index. Must have realized that that's not actually happening today. It has been continually creeping towards our stop loss though, and it looks like it's ready for a drop off. Just gone past 11:30, and price very close to our stop loss here on the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar trade. And in fact, it's getting so close that we've seen momentum shift and the accelerator oscillator is below zero, which means at 11:45, 14.5 minutes time, if we stay like that, we will have to manually close out the trade. With 15 seconds until the close, it does seem as though we're going to be shutting down this trade, despite the fact we've seen a nice green candle come here. This is something the accelerator oscillator struggles with a bit. It doesn't know when something's a retracement. It just kind of crosses over. That's what we're feeling at the moment. So we do see that there, so we'll have to shut that down. That's about a half a loss there. It was $49.72. Disappointing again. It'd be interesting to see what happens with price now. Could continue way back up. I mean, over here on the US dollar, Canadian dollar, that's what we saw. We were in on this giant red candle over here that took us out, carried on down for another couple minutes before it's gone up and up and up over the last hour and a half. This candle here, in case anyone wants to see it, that histogram bar there, it did close positive still. It looked like it was going to go negative for a minute, which means that then we would have been on the watch for the recrossover as we see here, but it was slightly above zero. 12:15 here, and we are focused in on the euro Swiss franc. Let's zoom in there. That last candle, you can't really see the histogram bar, but it did actually cross over zero there. 0.000005. So that's a positive value. Now it's flipping back the other way, currently a negative number. So if we don't see price go green and reflip it above zero in the next 15 minutes, we've got a sell trade here on the euro Swiss franc. 1 minute until the close of that candle then. Let's get back on this euro Swiss franc chart. It is still under the accelerator oscillator. I'm sort of glad the price has turned a bit green. Don't know if it'll go green enough for us not to get the trade. It does seem to push. Better to be up here than all the way down there, I would say though. Let's put up the average true range. 6.1 pips there on the ATR, and if we multiply that by 1.5, we get 9.15. Gonna wait for the full close here just in case it doesn't come some sort of big spike. Here we go. There it is. That is a narrow reading, and now it's still negative, only just, but we know our risk. That is calculated on screen now. Let's get in with this trade here. We are selling off the market. Hopefully this proves to be a good entry position. I was looking the price when it was down here, and I wasn't so confident in that. We're regularly seeing the accelerator oscillator extend to this sort of level in momentum, and then once we're in, the retracement comes only after that. So all we can do is hope that this is good enough this time around for us to get to a take profit, and we can set that stop loss and take profit, which will be 92 points either side. There we see, as always, the stop loss very visible to us. Zoom out a little bit. Can we see it? There it is. There's our take profit. Quite far down, right at this support level. We should get a decent amount of time in the trade either way though. ATR had been on the rise after this volatile whipsaw range here. Try and make money in that. Yeah, it looks more ready to drop than go up, but we do see it move green a little bit. 1:15, what's going on? A Euro Swiss franc trade here. Mostly just ranging around our entry price, but it's coming good at the minute. Let's have another big drop off like that. $31 in profit at the moment, just under a third of the way to the take profit. Bit more there, and we do see the take profit line appear there actually, right at the bottom of the screen. So we've got a visual on that now. We can see where we're headed to. On the other charts, US dollar, Canadian dollar here on the left has crossed and closed below zero. Downward momentum still in play here, but if it turns, we could get into a trade sort of around about this level if we see a couple green candles come. And likewise on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, this time over on the right, you can see price has been coming up. That accelerator oscillator, it is still just about below zero. With these two green candles here, unless we see a reversal in price, we should see the accelerator oscillator cross zero, and maybe around about here or so, we could get ourselves into a buy trade. Price here has made a real push towards our take profit. We're about 3/4 of the way there. We do get it. There's the trigger. Take profit goes. Brilliant trade. Look at that. That is how we do it. And you can see, nice trade there. What we're in about 3 periods or so. Bring it up on the history there. $97.15. We are still down for the day, but it does give us a little bit more faith. We are still down for the day, but it does bring back some faith in the accelerator oscillator. I wonder if this push is going to continue on the Euro Swiss franc, or whether now we see a retracement or back into one of these ranges here. Either way, we don't mind. We've taken our profit. We can dash from the scene with the loot. As for that Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar trade, it's starting to look less likely when we see a red candle like this, still below the accelerator oscillator. Just after 2:30 p.m. here, and on the US dollar, Canadian dollar, we see the beginnings of a trade entry signal for us. Accelerator oscillator now moved above zero, only just about finished negative before, but now we could see ourselves get a buy entry in 14.5 minutes, right up at this kind of level here. Maybe it can even go higher. Maybe it can get us in right towards the top of this resistance. Let's see. 14 minutes, we'll find out where we're at. 30 seconds until the close. It is going to give us that signal. Price has done nothing but go green. Has pulled back from the top. Didn't manage to find a low in this candle. Let's get up that ATR. That is 9.4 pips we're going to go for. So 14.1 pips to the stop loss and the take profit. There's the confirmation. Let's get our risk up on screen, and we are back in with a buy trade. A lot higher than we were in this morning. Now I guess the accelerator oscillator is really confident. How confident are you in this one? Let's get that stop loss on with the take profit. And here does come that selling pressure just about 12 minutes after entry. And we are hurtling towards the stop loss here. Big red candle coming in. Almost 3:15 here. Our US dollar, Canadian dollar trade ranging in between the entry price and stop loss. Fear not if it goes to that stop loss though, because we've got another entry signal coming here on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. It's giving us a buy signal right up at this resistance level. Perfect stuff. There's our average true range. We're going to go for 4.5 pips. It's getting shallower a bit, that ATR. 4.5 is the number. You see the close there. We do get the signal. So 6.75 pips to the stop loss. Let's get in here with a buy trade. Yeah, after the spread is accounted for, it is at the highest period it's been in a long while. And that's not even account for how far we've got to go. This is so unlikely to trigger. Man, the accelerator oscillator. The thing is, even if we listen to Bill Williams' 2-bar confirmation, it's still going to come. When does it not come? Look, 2 bars red here, 2 bars green here, 2 bars red here. You get it every time anyway. It's just delayed even more. So 68, definitely rounding up. Got to give us that extra. This has been very rangy. Let's put them all up together again. The tri-chart setup there. Get rid of that ATR. So both these trades getting us in at the resistance level again. We've already had bad trades from them with buys before, getting a little bit of deja vu here. Surprisingly, US dollar, Canadian dollar at the moment looks like it may have survived the retracement as we go into profit here. However, over on the right on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar trade, Very close to our stop loss there. It looks like it's going to trigger. And there it does go. Although I can see, even though we set the stop loss correctly, we actually did get the amount wrong there. We calculated our risk incorrectly. If you go back, we accidentally had it set on for the conversion being done for the euro Swiss franc instead of for the Aussie dollar New Zealand dollar. So the ATR distance would have been the same to the stop loss and take profit. That didn't make a difference. But fortunately, through our mild incompetence there, we have managed to save ourselves about $30. Feeling very lucky. It is a loss though, and the accelerator oscillator has been duped twice today when it gets to this resistance level. It thinks, yeah, that is the run up, that's what you want to be in on. But then sellers step in because they know by looking at the chart that this is a level that has not been topped for a very long time. Let's put it onto the day chart. That is about 3 weeks ago or so that it was at that level. So traders not really feeling comfortable to go past that, hence why we see such a strong reversal. Not too surprising for us at all, and we do take a loss. Just got to hope the US dollar, Canadian dollar can still find more strength in it and continue towards our take profit. In the meantime, a few numbers have come through. So we saw the PPI month on month for Brazil, 1.86 actual against 3.28% forecast. Still terrible, but not as terrible as it could have been. In fact, 1.86, the exact same as the previous. And then 3:30, we saw these Canadian numbers come through. The industrial product price index, negative 0.3, so that's pretty good. Actually, a little bit deflationary there instead of the 0.9% expected. And similarly with the raw materials price index, negative 2.4%. Pretty deep under there. They expected flat on a 2.2 previous. And the only other numbers we're really waiting on now are those pending home sales month on month and year on year from the US at 5 o'clock, just under an hour and a half until that. Until then, we can just hope that our trade here gets up a little bit higher, see some more green candles, as on the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, we do see it start to pound down even further. One of those times where the stop loss could really prove a blessing. This might be the full reversal off that resistance level. Look at how far that Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar has crashed here. Wow, that is a steep fall for one candle. Fortunately, we continue to see a rise over here on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Almost there, take profit there. One more push and we could see it. Just got to get across that finishing line. Boom, there we go. That's the take profit. A full 1% gain there, and thanks to our misstep on the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, we made a little bit more money off the US dollar, Canadian dollar than we did that trade. If you're going to be dumb, it's good to be lucky, and so we do bag a winner. Any other trades coming up? Doesn't look like it at the moment. We're going to need more movement, but we may well see that because volume is coming into the market now at 3:30. Volatility increased. Needless to say, we are pretty pleased with that trade. I was much more expecting the response that we got from this Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar trade where it smashed down. I didn't think it would go that far, but I did think it would bounce off there. Likewise, I thought that with the US dollar, Canadian dollar too. Fortunately, as we saw, it did run upward though. Just after 4:45 p.m. now, about an hour since our last update, and 15 minutes since the stock market opened, we have seen increased volume on all of our currency pairs. And with that came increased volatility as well. In terms of signals, not close to anything on the US dollar, Canadian dollar pair. The euro Swiss franc though, it is closing in on a sell trade after this red candle right here. If we see it stay flat or come down anymore, and on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, it's crept up over the last few periods, price ever so slowly making its way amongst the volatility. We could be having a third bash at this resistance level at some point. And would you look at the candle that we're going to see on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar? Absolute joke of price action. We are going to get a buy trade once more, probably right at the top here, 15 minutes time at the end of this histogram bar. Third time lucky, third time's the charm. And it's so far above zero that I don't think it can be stopped. I think it would need a major reversal of the same kind. Meanwhile, suddenly seeing a big sell-off over here on the US dollar, Canadian dollar as well. Dropping like a rock. That US dollar, Canadian dollar turned upward again, pretty green over there. And that's off the back of pretty skittish numbers with the pending home sales compared to the forecast. Month on month was 8.1% actual against negative 2.8% forecast. So that's obviously very good. But then the year on year it was negative 8.3% actual against 14.5% forecast. So pretty strange, but certainly the month on month, the more important one, and looking very strong from there. So not too surprising we see the dollar go up. And we are going to get that signal from the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Let's get the average true range up. 6.5, that's what we're on. So 1.5 of that is 9.75 pips. We do get the close. can see our risk calculator on screen now. And for the third time today, at the highest point, we are in a buy trade here on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Didn't like it that time, but hey, let's give it a go this time. That's 98 and 98 we're going to. But maybe it's a true move this time though. Maybe we see the Australian dollar make a real push, even though it retraces now for a minute, that continued push into the green up to our take profit level, wherever that is up there. As of right now though, the trade's actually looking okay. We're about a third of the way to the take profit, just under that now. But we're finding new highs, that's what we want. Keep those green candles coming. Let this US dollar Canadian dollar pair over here be your inspiration. Don't go red, go green. And on the Australian dollar New Zealand dollar, amazingly this push has continued and we are 3/4 of the way to our take profit. We can actually see the take profit level. That is incredible. It is going up and up. People are buying those Aussie dollars. They are loving them. Or hating the New Zealand dollar. We don't mind either way. Have a bit more of a push. And there it is, the last bit of strength we needed to get through. And price running past our take profit even. What a strong move on that chart. I have to say, as you heard, I thought this trade was going to be a complete joke and a real poor end to the day, but it's completely flipped the session on its head. And we've actually managed to come out a little bit on top here for the day. You can see it's $78.64. Even if we got the risk correct on this Aussie dollar New Zealand dollar trade, that would only been an extra $33, meaning we still would have been at $45 positive for the day. That feels like a legitimate climax to the session, so we will end it there. Bit of a mixture, and I think the clear lesson is that when it does trend, hey, things go okay. But when it doesn't, when it stays in that range, you are inevitably going to get kicked out of trades. It was 3 gains and 3 losses today on our 6 trades, much better than the 5 losses, 2 gains yesterday. And we will be back for one more session of trading the Simple Accelerator strategy, so we will be back on the charts then. Let's just have a look at those trades though in the journal. That's our journal in all its glory. Let's scroll down to today's trades, separated by that solid black line there. So we start with these 2 losses. Very poor start of the day, particularly that US dollar CAD one. Rushed almost immediately to our stop loss in the same period, having to close out this half trade. Felt like there was going to be no way back for the strategy. Suddenly though, a Euro Swissy win managed to trend. That was trending for most of the day. Did kick back towards the end, but it had a solid downtrend and we were able to take advantage of it. That one histogram bar that went ever so slightly above 0 and then immediately flipped back below 0. We took that and we ran with it. And then we were able to get in on that US dollar CAD run as well. Good trend going there. Could have gone a lot further actually, so trade and stop loss would have been very nice on that one. Managed to take profit though, and that is what counts. And then we had 2 more Australian dollar New Zealand dollar trades. That first one we botched the risk, even though it ended up a loss. We managed to save ourselves $30 because of our error, and it was looking to be 3 strikes when we were out. But finally we got one more buy trade on the Aussie dollar New Zealand dollar. Crazy price action we saw on that where it dropped rapidly only to bounce back, and we were able to get on the second half of that move up to the take profit. Still flabbergasted by that, but we end today with the strategy overall being $102 down now, so we did manage to make some money back. Pretty impressed. It's got one more session to see if it can get in profit. We will be back on the charts to find out whether it can or not.